All right, back with you again today to discuss another topic on the cultural and social war going on within America right now. It has caused many to fall into injustice, and the point that I'm trying to make within this podcast is that many people out there are fighting for real justice, and it is being undermined by those calling justice injustice. And those that fight for our justice should not be put in detriment for standing up for what they stand for. The police in this country stand for policing and making sure the public is safe at all times, and also standing up for the laws that are put into place by the same ones that are trying to take away the power that the police have in their forces. And America's social climate has really come to a point where you don't even understand what people are really thinking as far as taking away the power that's been given to police to do their jobs. And now you have lawlessness running rampant within our cities, within our culture. I mean, we have mob rule all over these cities, and they're calling that justice when that is an injustice. Even Martin Luther King, which you can look at the picture of what he said about violence and how that does not create anything that he was trying to project during his day. And now, this day and age, we have so much violence perpetuated towards whites that want moral law and real law to be stood for, and even good blacks that want laws to be stood for. And then you have an immoral culture bred by immoral adults perpetuating many movements that are causing the laws to be rewritten in such a way to protect the criminals and the most craziest, lawless people to be protected by these new laws that are being written by people that we've put in power to really uphold the law. I mean, that's really what they've said that they were going to do when they went into these offices. But see, these people are just puppets, and they say anything to get into power. And then here we are, where now we are being threatened. Even you can't even have justice anymore, because even like this case, our justice system has totally been destroyed through court TV, live feeds of court cases that should not even be live fed until after the court case is over. It's just a blatant way to threaten people while they know they're being watched by millions and millions of people on television. And it just destroys any factual part of a case. And then the mob rule comes in and says, if you don't vote this certain way, we're going to burn your town down. And all that was was a total threat to the democracy, because without our rule of law, if we don't have our laws, we don't keep our laws and keep them instated by the justice, which is the force from the police and from the army and from any entity of the government. When we start allowing all that to become our, if we think they're really going to stand up to this mob rule, we already know from this court case that just come down, the Chauvin case, and then these other many cases, that the mob rules. And we also know that nothing's going to be done about Maxine Waters. We also know nothing's going to be done about LeBron James. Nothing's going to be done about all these people that ran their mouth while a court case of this magnitude was going on. And it is totally, we are totally living in a lawless society that is not even the people of the nation are keeping people accountable. And when I say accountable, I mean when you step this far out of line, somebody should be there to put you back in line. But there's not anybody. Nobody is holding anybody accountable. And the reason being is because they're all in on it. I still say it to today that our Republican Democratic Party is on this thing, and it's just a big scheme for them to get bunches and bunches of money out of the American people for their own selfish deals and their own payoffs and everything else, and none of them are really serious about the American people anymore, because they are allowing so much violence to be protected. I mean, you got it now almost where sex slaves are protected. They know this stuff is going down within communities. They know this stuff is going down within states. They know this stuff is going down all the way up to the CIA and federal, and they're just allowing it to happen because our government is failed. We are living in a banana republic. That is what we're living in, a banana republic. It's not even a real government anymore. It is just an entity that is perpetuating all kinds of nefarious acts behind the closed doors and paying off other politicians to just shut up and be quiet and go along with it. They're paying off government officials. They're paying off the CIA is getting paid off. The FBI is getting paid off. All the way up to the biggest generals in the Army, Navy, all that, they're all getting paid off. They're all getting paid off. And who you say is paying them? China. China is paying off the USA. China is paying off the USA. Should I say this again? And they are causing all this ruckus throughout our nation because we've allowed people to get in there that are lovers of money, lovers of pleasure, and lovers of seeing destruction happen to this great nation. The only reason they're allowing all these people, all these migrants into America is nothing more than to just destroy whatever's left, because this country is no longer a nation. A nation without laws, a nation without borders, it's not a nation. It's just a what would you call it when you're just trying to get through, it's just a pathway. It's just a pathway. It's become a pathway for Canada to go down to Mexico and Mexico to come up here to Canada. It's just a pathway. It's not even a nation. Our civil, all of our civility is gone. evaporated. The only thing left is just the payoffs. And the payoffs are going to keep coming. And the payoffs are to keep us calm long enough for this mass Ponzi scheme to give up its ghost. And it's going to give up its ghost when all these people are gone. These people are just hedging their bets because they know that they've dumbed down the whole entire nation to such a point. They don't even feed us the right food, so we can't even be strong enough to overcome them. They feed us food that destroys our brain, destroys our knowledge. They've destroyed our knowledge of God. They've destroyed our knowledge of everything that was important to this nation. They know it, and they're taking full advantage of it. And they're going to keep taking full advantage of it because the simple fact is they know that the people are exactly right where they want them. They're exactly right where they want them, in the trap. And they've already set the biggest trap that's ever been. And they will be gone, and you and I and everybody else will be left with the biggest debt that's ever been acquired by a nation. And when that debt comes to fruition, we are going to be slaves to whatever nation that debt's going to. And guess who it's going to? China. And it's just a matter of time. Like I said, this is just payoff time. They've already got their plan set up with China. And they know China's going to come. They know Russia's going to come. That's why a lot of them that are still kind of young but know what's coming down is getting ready because they're buying up millions and millions of different places to go hide when the bombs start bursting over the cities. And believe me, they will be tipped off by China. China's going to tell them it's time to go to your bunkers because we're coming. Russia's going to call and they're going to tell everybody that's been paid off, it's time to go get in your bunkers. And then they're going to eradicate about 20, I would say at least 20 trillion people. I mean, every city, Atlanta, DC, Los Angeles, all the major cities are all going to be pretty much eradicated. The only thing that's going to be left is whoever got the big payoffs and whoever got the bunkers. Because that's where they're going. They're going to the bunkers, and then everybody else is going to be left in peril. And then when they come in and they take this whole entire nation captive, because they're going to take it captive, they're going to let those seniors go back to them countries, probably back to China. That's why China's building up all these different places for these people to go when the time's right, which the time will be right in about 15 years, I would say in the next 15 years if we're lucky. And at the same time, so I mean, we are in a lawless, destructive nation. It is so destructive. It is self-destructing itself. And like I said, everybody knows what they're doing, but nobody's going to do anything about it. There's no accountability. They just talk and blabber and la la la, and they yell back and forth and act like they care. But at the end of the day, there's a reason why they're all pretty hefty, and they're all getting heftier as it goes, is because the simple fact is they're eating high on the hog while you're starving to death, and you'll starve to death before these people let you have one crumb, because they weren't even going to give you $1,400. They're going to give you $600 because they're so greedy, and they're going to take every bit of that money. Every bit of the money that you gave them through all these different bills and through all this different stuff, they are taking it all and buying up property, buying up bunkers for their friends, buying up whatever they got to buy to keep themselves alive as long as they possibly can until the bombs hit. And America is just standing around fighting over nonsense. And they're just laughing because while you're doing all this dumb stuff, Black Lives Matter and all these other groups and all this other nonsense, while you're doing all that, they're stealing everybody the money to go do just like your Black Lives Matter leader did. They're going to buy mega amounts of property and everything else so that they'll have a place to go and their families will have a place to go. And like I said, when the bombs drop over the cities and a 30-mile wide area is destroyed, they don't care. Because guess what? At the end of the day, they're laughing because they used all your money and your stupidity and your ignorance of what they were doing for their own good. And guess what? I can't be mad at them because the simple fact is you let them. Nobody wanted to fight. Everybody wanted to listen to their Facebook. Everybody wanted to talk on the phone. Everybody wanted to talk about everything else. And guess what? They know what's going on. They know the seriousness of what's going on. They know that there's a God. They know that this God isn't playing. They know that this God is fixing to judge this nation. They know that this God is coming. And that's why they're buying up plenty of things while you're sitting around debating all this nonsense and talking on, even myself, talking on podcasts. They don't care. Because at the end of the day, like I said, they're stealing your money. They're not only stealing money from you, they're going to steal it from 10 generations of you. They're going to steal it from 20 generations before it's over with. Because right now they're just doing 2 trillion, 2 trillion, 2 trillion. Eventually it'll be 5 trillion, 5 trillion, 5 trillion. And then after that it'll be 10 trillion, 10 trillion. They're going to pump it up so high. They're going to have, because see, that while the money's still worth something, it won't be worth something very much longer, but while it's still worth something and while the world's still buying, in US dollars, but one day it'll change. They're going to buy up everything that they possibly can, so they'll be very comfortable in their bunkers while you're getting, 50 megaton bombs over every city, decimating everything. Everything you've ever worked for is fixing to be decimated. And then they're going to let 200 megaton warheads go off on each side of the coast, like I've said in other broadcasts, if you've been listening. And all for what? Because you allow lawlessness. This culture is turned into an immoral, lawless culture that is allowing everybody to do whatever it wants. Because as long as it allows you to do whatever you want, you won't put up a fight. As long as you're getting the food and everything else, that's why they're pacifying you with these little checks and everything to keep you fed and keep you from fighting. Because they know as soon as they can't pay you that, you're going to be mad and you're going to be ready to fight. But they know as long as they can keep you not mad, keep you docile with food and a little bit of drink and everything else, they can continue screwing you, screwing me, and screwing your future. And all these people that are doing all this nonsense, because it's just all nonsense. All this stuff that you're working and you're paying for, it's all going to be for nonsense. Because while you're paying for a home, they are buying billion-dollar properties 60 miles down in the ground. Because guess what? While you're thinking you have a future, they know you don't. They're making sure that no white, black, nothing will have a future. Nothing will have a future in America. The only future America's going to get is what she's been dealing herself. She's going to get judgment. She's been judging all the other nations and saying da-da-da about them. But guess what? She's the one that preached it. But she's the one that's been projecting it. The immorality. The let's don't believe in God movement. Let's don't believe in the 10 Commandments. Let's don't believe in the Bible. Let's don't send our kids let's don't send our kids to a school that preaches God. Let's send them to the most ungodliest places we possibly can. Let's teach our children how to be the most ungodliest kids in the world. Let's project the most evil images mankind's ever seen on a television screen. Let's project the most vile pornography that the world has ever seen on every computer, on every laptop, on everybody's cell phone, not only to the world, but to all the kids in the world, to all the mothers in the world, to all the fathers in the world, to all the Christians in the world, to everybody in the world. And that is what America's been doing. So, America, you're ripe for destruction. Let me tell you this. You're ripe for destruction. And you're going to be destroyed because the simple fact is you won't turn away from it. You won't turn away. You want to live lawless. You want to live in immorality. You want to live without a God. You want to teach the most vile things to kids. And not only that, the men in this country will not stand up to the immorality because they're just as more immoral. Only God gives the strength to do what's right. God is the only one that can give you the strength to do what's right. You can't do it on your own. You are built to mess up. You are built to have a sinful nature. And your sinful nature is going to send you right over the edge of destruction. You, your family, and everything with it. Until you realize that, until this country realizes that it is in a social downfall, it is in a social free fall with God. Because the simple fact is, you cannot have nations without laws, without morals, without real justice. Justice is not being served in this America. It is injustice after injustice after injustice after injustice. There is no justice. Kids are being enslaved, and there's no justice for it. Kids are being put into the worst situations, and there's no justice for it. Our cities are being taken over, and there's no justice for it. Being took over by the most lawless people possible, and there's no justice for that. It's just injustice. Those that want to live by the law and do the good, live goodly, godly lives are being slaughtered every day because nobody will stand up for them. Nobody says a word about them. We are protecting evil in this country. We would rather see pedophiles and murderers live in a prison cell for 50 to 60 years before we will give one piece of shelter to the homeless. That is the most ungodliest thing I've ever heard of. We will allow meals to the most ungodliest people, but to God's people, which are the poor and the needy, we will not give 1 cent to them. We won't even give them a space to live. We won't even give them somebody that maybe can convert them in their mind, because many of them have mental illnesses. But we would rather give that to a prisoner that is a pedophile, that is a murderer, that is a rapist, that is a killer. And when I say killer, I mean somebody that's killed over 20 people or over 10 people. You know, we're giving food and everything to them. That is crazy. And then only that, before we would give to our poor, we will give to what else? Illegals. We will give shelter to illegals. We will give illegals freedom to have money, to have whatever they need. But to the poor in this country, nothing. Now you tell me how much judgment we are going to reap. Because I'm going to tell you, you're going to reap, America. You're going to reap for not doing what is justified, what is dignified, and what is civil in a nation. A nation should take care of its own. A nation should be aware of what's going on and not listen to a bunch of lies. And that's all America does, is listen to lies every day. Lies, lies, lies. That's because they are from the father of lies, Satan himself. And that's why they love to listen to it, because they know it's a lie. You know every day when you send your kids to school, it ain't nothing but lies, but you send them anyways because you don't care. When you send your kids off to college, you don't care. You know they're going to be filled full of lies, but you don't care. Lie on, just so I can brag that you did go to college, just so I can brag that you're in here and you're in there. Well, guess what? What's bragging going to do when your ass is sitting in hell and your child's sitting in hell with you? What is that going to accomplish? Nothing. Everybody better wake up. Everybody that sees injustice in this country needs to stand up and fight. And if that's physical, then that's physical. If that's all you can fight with, then that's all you need. But if you're a lawyer, if you're a judge, if you're a counselor, you should be fighting for what is right, what is justified and dignified, not lies and deceit. And if that's just because that's where the money's at, well, guess what? Deny the money, because it isn't worth your soul in hell just for a few dollar bills. Because guess what? At the end of your life, you're not going to be counting how many dollar bills you got in your back pocket. You're going to be saying, God Almighty, please help me. Please. Because this right here is a nation that needs law and order. It needs law and order. It needs to be shown law and order. And we should not allow mobs to rule us. We should not allow foreign entities to rule us. We shouldn't allow domestic entities to rule us. We should only allow God Almighty to rule us. And we should not allow any of these people, if they think they're going to get away with preaching immorality to our kids, we should not tolerate it, not one more minute, not one more day. Because every day that we tolerate this immorality that's within this country, that's being perpetuated across this nation and across the world, is just reaping us even greater and greater destruction. And if you want to be a part of that destruction, then just continue the path that America is following right now. Because the only future vision America has right now is a vision of destruction. And that goes for everybody. Nobody will be admitted from it except those that, like I said, are using this money for big payoffs so that they can buy themselves big plots of land and have big bunkers built. And they're having them built everywhere. They're having them built to survive what they know is coming to you and your family and a family everywhere, which is, like I said before, a 60-mile wide area of total destruction, total annihilation. And then after, even maybe before that, a 200 megaton warhead going off on every coastline and coming 1,600 feet inward, if not more, going to be going more inward than that on the coasts at about 300 miles per hour. Now, if you want that, then just continue the way you're going, America, and you're going to get every single bit of it. I promise you. Because like our leaders, they're playing politics. Putin, China, and a lot of other countries, they're not playing politics, buddy. They're playing, we will kill you at the drop of a hat. And when I say kill you, I say, like I said, 20 million people at every major city in America. At least. You're talking 40, 60, 80. You're talking 100 million to 200 million dead because you would not change course, America. You would not stand up for the innocent. You would not stand up for the injustices. You would not stand up for those that stood up for you every day in their job as a police officer. You stood up for mob rule. You stood up for lies. You stood up for lawlessness. You stood up for immorality. You stood up for children being taught in schools all this immorality. And now you wonder why this is coming to you. There's no need to wonder. Because while you're sitting here thinking about it, you better think long and hard. Is this the way I want to go? Is this what I want my family to see? Is this what I want my daughter and my son to see? Because they're going to see it. They're going to see it. Because immorality is not overlooked. It is not overlooked. I hope that this broadcast blesses you. I hope that you understand that I'm not trying to put fear in people. I'm trying to let you understand that destruction is the path if we allow America to be a lawless nation that doesn't support righteousness. Anyways, I thank you again. Hope you enjoy. And please share this with somebody. Thank you.